Welcome to this Mat Pilates session where we are going to twist up our mat exercises. This is the Bennie Barre Pilates studio. Coming down to a seated position on the mat, we're going to extend the legs out long and roll back to a supine position with control. Taking the arms up overhead, we're going to go into the roll up. Exhale as you peel up one vertebrae at a time and round forward, then stack up tall and twist off to the left, return to center, and roll back down to the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Exhale, imagine that you are peeling the spine up one vertebrae at a time, round forward, stack up tall through the spine, twist off to the right now, back to center, and roll back down. Continue on here. Remember as you take those twists to think about keeping the ankles and the hips in a steady position and just twisting the torso, like you're wringing out your torso like a wet washcloth. Exhale as you roll forward. Inhale as you stack up tall through the spine. Exhale, twist. Inhale, return. And exhale as you roll back down. Control and precision is the name of the game. We have healthy mobility and articulation of the spine happening as we peel up and roll back down, and then we're taking a nice twist through the spine at the top. Most common everyday issues with the back and the spine happen from quick jerking, twisting motions that lead to injury. So it stands to reason that if we twist with intention and focus through the spine and nourish the spine in that way, that we'll be less likely to injure ourselves in our daily lives. Remember to keep that flow of breath going, concentrating on exhaling on the exertion. Now, drawing the feet together, we're going to lift up into a teaser and twist here. Not only does our upper body twist off to the side, but also our legs twist off to the opposite side. And then we lower back down. Exhale, lift up into that teaser. Reach out in the opposite direction, return to center, and roll back down. Exhale as you lift up into that teaser. Inhale at the top as you twist off to the side, and exhale as you come back down. Remember that each time we're twisting the upper body off to a different side, alternating each time. And if we're twisting our upper body to the left, then our legs are reaching off to the right. If this is too much coordination or balance and stability wise, you can simply twist off just the arms or just the legs. Remember that this isn't a quick jerking motion to pull up into that teaser. It's slow and controlled. We hold and we twist. It's not a quick crunch and then a fall back down to the mat. Taking the hands behind the head, elbows wide, we're floating the legs up into a tabletop position and straight into the crisscross exercise. Remember here that we're taking our elbow and we're thinking about going beyond the opposite knee, rather than getting a tiny narrow twist where we're just thinking about bringing the elbow to the knee. We want to fully twist through that torso as we reach and lengthen a leg out straight. Keep a nice steady flow of breath. Remember not to hold your breath. And keep the elbows out wide. If they pull in narrow to your face, you're naturally going to get less of a twist. And lower down. Continuing on with exercises that naturally twist, go ahead and adjust on the mat if you need to. Lay down on the back or going into the corkscrew. So we're first going to roll straight up and over, and then we'll twist the ankles off to the left and then circle the legs back down. So for this variation of the corkscrew, we're going to focus in on rolling straight over top of the head, twisting the legs off beyond one side of the shoulder, and then the legs circle down as we articulate and roll down through the spine, circling back out to that 45 position. Remember to keep the shoulders rolled down and the hands reaching out on the mat. Next, we're going to be moving into the hip twist. So go ahead and come to seated, place the hands back behind, and we're going to come down onto the forearm. We're going to twist the legs off to the right, circle the whole way around, and then we're going to stop and go in the other direction. Taking the legs in a full circle. Remember to keep the chin tucked forward, gaze forward rather than straining through the neck and looking up at the ceiling. Bring those elbows directly underneath the shoulders, and the fingers are reaching out long towards the end of the mat. Also remember to keep your circles smooth and even, so we don't want to get to a place where it's hard to hold and then swing them around quickly. We want to draw nice, smooth circles, and of course be controlling this with our core and our body. Now coming back down onto the back, we're going to tuck the legs in and just breathe for a moment. And then coming in, sitting forward, we're going to take a little break from the twisting and going into rolling back or rolling like a ball. C curve through the spine. Inhale as you roll back to your shoulder blades, and exhale as you roll forward. Hold and hover there. If you lose balance and your toes tap down onto the mat, just simply pick them back up and continue on. We're holding on somewhere in between the knees and the ankles and holding that ball shape. We want to roll back straight through the spine and right up, a nice natural spine massage. Placing the feet on the mat, we're going to round forward and just drape over our legs. Now stack up tall through the spine, and we're going to exhale as we C curve back, and then inhale as we stack up through the spine, one vertebrae at a time, growing up nice and tall, and then round back. We want our spine to be straight from our hips all the way up to our shoulders, and then C curve, round back. Feel this deeply in the core as you scoop and hollow back, and then stack up tall. Purposefully rounding through the spine and stacking up, articulating one vertebrae at a time, can be so wonderful for the back. Now we're coming into a side plank position to go into the twist. So we're holding that side plank, we dip the hips down towards the mat, and then we lift them up and reach the arm through and underneath the body, twisting the spine as we're reaching back. Of course, if we're going to be doing a twisted up class where we're focusing on twisting exercises, we can't have a mat session without the twist. As you're holding that plank and dipping down, think about keeping shoulder over shoulder and hip over hip. Now we're going to twist around to the other side and continue on this exercise here. Dipping the hips down, lifting straight up, and reaching through. There are a few exercises that work and strengthen the obliques, like side planking exercises that require effort and motion and movement, like the twist and the side bend. Now coming back into that front plank, we're going to rock forward onto the toes and then press the heels back, shifting the weight forward over top of the arms and then pressing back. Focus on peeling those heels up and coming onto the toe. Now we're going to lift the right foot up and do this with a single leg. Really lengthen through that leg as you bring the heel back, switching sides. Left foot is hovering now. And that left leg that's floating is just staying in line with the right leg that's on the floor, but just midair. Now lower the body the whole way down to the mat. Lengthen the toes out, and we're gonna peel up into swan and go into our swan dive. Inhale as you lift the upper body and exhale as you roll it out. Sweeping the arms out back as the chest lifts, and then plant the hands back down, land, and press back into a rest pose. Take a few breaths here, recharge. Next, let's add a little twist into our stretch with thread the needle. Taking the left arm, reaching through, dropping that left shoulder to the mat, left palm is facing up, right hand reaches and walks a little bit beyond the head, and just sink into the stretch here. And let's lift that up, unwind, and come to the other side. Drop the shoulder blade down, head rests on the mat. Opposite arm reaches and walks the fingertips beyond the head. And we're twisting through that upper back, releasing and stretching behind the shoulders. And now unwind. We're gonna bring those feet facing forward and come back onto the back and go into a supine spine stretch. Reaching the arms out to the side and the knees are together and in a tabletop position. We're gonna let them float off to the right hand side while keeping that left opposite shoulder down. Now deepen that by twisting the head and looking off to the left as well. You'll take this stretch just as far as is comfortable without forcing. Float the knees back up and drift off in the other direction. Legs coming to the left while the head looks off to the right. Breathe into it, let it stretch. You may find your legs sinking lower towards the ground with time. Just let it happen naturally. Don't push anything anywhere. And bring everything back up. Now we're gonna grab a hold just below that ankle and peel up head, neck, and shoulders, extend the other leg out. We're coming into the single straight leg stretch, and we're gonna switch sides and then hold for a long stretching period of time and stretch again. Rather than a rapid tempo with this, we're going to slow it down and hold the stretch for a moment, and then switch sides. Really stabilize through that trunk as you switch sides and hold and stretch. Great stretch through the hamstrings here. Now bend those knees in towards the chest. We're gonna reach out into the double leg stretch and then circle back in. Arms reach out, legs reach out. Snow angel the arms back in as you pull your legs back into a ball. Keep head, neck, and shoulders lifted and tucking forward. Make sure that you don't release the upper body or look up towards the sky and put strain in your neck, but hold it just where it is while you hold that neutral spine without allowing your rib cage to flare. This is rather taxing for your core, but we want to make sure that it's nice and smooth and we don't take jerky movements here. Keep the breath and the movement smooth. Lower down the head, neck, and shoulders and give the knees a little rock from side to side for a little back massage here. Now turn the head over to the left-hand side. Just gently stretch through the neck here. Recenter and look to the right. Just hold those legs there in that ball position. And bring the head back center. We're going to sit up tall here, lift the arms up overhead, and go into the spine stretch. Stack up tall through the spine. Exhale as you fold forward, reaching out, and then stacking up tall through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Think about reaching up and over and then stacking up tall through the spine. We're not reaching to the toes or trying to grab onto the toes. Instead, we're trying to reach beyond the feet. Whether or not your hands are coming even close to going beyond the feet, we're just pulling our body in two directions, reaching out long. Thanks so much for joining me today for this mat session, Twist It Up, and I'll see you guys next time in the studio. If you would like to take your mat Pilates practice to the next level, you can join me on Patreon for my mat tier, where we have all of these sessions, plus guided classes and how-to videos, where I break down each classical mat Pilates exercise, teach you how to do it from any level. Of course, there are other options for my online classes, including Springboard, Reformer, and Barre. Check it out. And of course, there are 100% free options for joining me in the studio, like this YouTube channel. If you hit that like button, it lets me know what videos you're interested in, what you want to see more of, and subscribing and hitting that notification bell is a great way to contribute and keep more videos coming.